exactly at 3:17 on March 19, 2026. The night sky over the Persian Gulf ignited in a sequence of orange fireballs that could be seen from space. The aerospace force of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran, operating from semi-mobile launch complexes buried under the Zagros Mountains, executed a coordinated salvo of ballistic and cruise missiles against Ras Laffan industrial city on the northeast coast of Qatar. This is the most strategically crucial energy infrastructure on the planet. The world's largest liquefied natural gas processing complex was now in flames, responsible for 30% of the global LNG supply. The facility's destruction was not retaliation. It was doctrine. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard had simulated this exact scenario for 18 months. The goal was not military victory, but economic paralysis. By setting Ras Laffan ablaze, Tehran lit the fuse of a $16 trillion supply shock that would detonate in European energy markets within 72 hours. Every second those storage tanks burned represented another dos euros per megawatt hour on German heating bills. Every column of black smoke rising over the Gulf was another torpedo aimed at the global financial system. But Tehran made a catastrophic miscalculation. They didn't know that. 3 minutes before the first Shahab-3 missile cleared the launch rail, the USS Abraham Lincoln had already entered maximum alert. At 3:14, an array of NTPY-2 radars, positioned at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, detected the thermal signatures of multiple ballistic missile engine ignition within 43 seconds. This data was fused into the Joint Tactical Ground Station and transmitted into the Link 16 network. The data reached every American platform in the CENTCOM area of operations. An E-8C Joint STARS aircraft initiated geolocation tracking. The USS Lake Ariane, Aegis-equipped cruiser, immediately shifted its SPY-1D phased array radar from search to duel and track mode. The ship was acquiring 16 incoming threats at once. The United States had spent 3 weeks pre-positioning the most sophisticated defense architecture. This wasn't a reactive posture. It was a pre-planned kill chain. The first wave of IRGC missiles AT MA-2 medium-range ballistic missiles, carrying a 750-kilogram conventional warhead, were airborne and climbing to their apogees at Mach 7. The clock was running. At the same time, the Strait of Hormuz was about to become the most dangerous 21,000 square miles of ocean in human history. The IRGC Navy had positioned 5 fast-attack craft float, each equipped with C-802 Nord anti-ship missiles, in a dispersed holding pattern. Simultaneously, 3 Kilo-class Project 877 submarines had silently repositioned on the previous evenings, tied to blocking stations along the main shipping lanes. Their mission: create a layered kill zone to force any U.S. carrier strike group into a gauntlet of subsurface, surface, and aerial threats. Iran's strategic logic was brutal. Force the U.S. to choose: respond to the strike and risk a full naval engagement, or watch the global economy hemorrhage. What happened in the next 19 minutes would rewrite every naval warfare manual on the planet. At 03:18 hours, the USS Lake Erie's fire control system achieved engagement solutions on 7 of the 8 inbound EMAD-2 missiles. The USS Nitze ripple-fired 4 Standard Missile-3 interceptors from its vertical launch system in a salvo that lit the pre-dawn sky like artificial lightning. The SM-3's kinetic kill vehicle executed cold gap burn corrections at an altitude of 93 kilometers to stay on an intercept trajectory. 3 missiles, 3 hits, 3 expanding clouds of superheated debris above the stratosphere. 1 missile broke through. Missile number 8 had been fitted with a terminal phase maneuver package that allowed it to execute a 1-4G lateral displacement. The DOT battery at Al Udeid attempted an emergency engagement, but the missile was already inside minimum intercept range. At 03:09 hours, Ras Laffan's train for LNG processing unit took a direct hit. The explosion was visible from the International Space Station, but the IRGC's war planners had already made their fatal mistake. They assumed the Strait of Hormuz operation would buy them time. They did not know that U.S. naval forces had already issued execute order, Iron Passage authorizing immediate action against all identified threat nodes. At 03:19 hours, 40 aircraft from the Abraham Lincoln's Carrier Air Wing were already airborne and running pre-attack checklists. They had launched preemptively under emissions control. The RGC's early warning radar network had not detected a single aircraft. At 03:01 hours, electronic attack aircraft transmitted a broadband jamming pulse. Every radar receiver in the IRGC's flotilla simultaneously went white with electronic snow. 12 seconds later, 2 flight sections of FA-180s, call signs VIPE R1 and VIPE R2, crossed the coastline of Kashem Island at 480 knots and 200 feet of altitude in terrain masking profiles. They released 4 GM-84 Hari Slama standoff land attack missiles. The targets were the IRGC's primary fast attack craft pens at Shahid Qasim Naval Base. The SLAM is infrared terminal seeker locked onto the heat signatures of boat engines running at idle. Each missile executed a near-vertical terminal dive to maximize penetration through reinforced concrete huts. The base ceased to exist as a functioning military installation in 4 minutes and 18 seconds. At the same time, USS Cheyenne, a Los Angeles-class fast attack submarine, had been operating in trail position 1,800 meters behind a target. Upon receiving the execute order, it immediately fired a single Mk-48, a DCAP heavyweight torpedo at its target. The IRGC submarine, operating in passive sonar mode with no awareness of its shadow, had no time to react. The torpedo's OTTO fuel-powered engine drove it at 55 knots to its target in under 90 seconds. The IRGC submarine broke apart in 140 meters of water without transmitting a single distress signal. But the fight for the strait was far from over. The IRGC had anticipated the loss of its surface fleet. Their contingency was already executing. At 0331 hours, IRGC coastal missile batteries ROD 500 cruise missile systems concealed in modified shipping containers opened their lids. They launched a coordinated salvo of 12 cruise missiles, targeting the Abraham Lincoln Strike Group. These were not the crude rockets of a desperate proxy force. The ROD 500 represented the most dangerous anti-ship threat in their inventory. With a range of 500 kilometers and a radar cross-section smaller than a large bird, they flew at 30 meters above the wavetops, at Mach 0.9. They were designed to saturate an Aegis combat system's engagement capacity through simultaneous multi-axis approach vectors. The RGC planners believed they had designed the perfect attack geometry. 12 missiles, 6 approach corridors, 2 missiles per corridor. Their models predicted an Aegis cruiser could engage a maximum of 8 simultaneous threats before its VLS cells were depleted. Their models were built on 2015 data. The USS Lake Erie was running the NSPY-6V1 air and missile defense. Radar, the same system fitted to the Navy's newest destroyers. Its sensitivity was 45 times greater than the legacy SPY-1D it had replaced. The fire control computer had engagement solutions built before the missiles were at 10% of their flight time.